This one has been playfully titled the Mothership because, well, it looks like an alien spacecraft and it has enough electronics to be able to fly one. I'll show you the back here so you can really see what's in this.
That is cool.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a computer with a brain.
Yep.
I mean, a guitar with a brain.
Yeah.
A guitar with a computer.
It's like 3 steps away from being self-aware. But yeah, so essentially he came to me wanting something that would work for extended range progressive music, because he plays a mix of kind of fusion-y jazz stuff and pop format things and then progressive tech metal and lead stuff, and he just wanted it to be like one and done. Here's my 8-string fan fret crazy thing, and I'm good. But additionally, he experiments in EDM and electronic, music design, and so he wanted to incorporate those elements in a more comprehensive way than you'd even find on custom designed guitars. And so we've got, if you look over here, we've got a few jacks kind of peeking out on the edge here.
Try to get that.
Yeah.
There's the jacks. Cool.
So this one is a stereo jack, which gives you a split acoustic and electric signal. We have actual piezoacoustic saddles in the bridge, so you can get 8 strings of acoustic tone in that. Then we have the electric pickups, obviously. Volume with a tone switch, actually. If you pull that out, it's like you're rolling the tone off. And then you have acoustic volume for the piezoacoustic saddles. And then you have synth volume because we've added a Roland GK system in the back here. So that allows you to control either Roland synth pedals or through a converter control MIDI-based programs using Ableton Live, etc. But we took it one step further, and another friend of ours designed this Arduino-based infrared proximity sensor, which through the third jack outputs raw MIDI data as basically a mid-air expression pedal, so that any patch that you have dialed in, you can in real time manipulate the audio, either change a filter or blend in another sound, or it's really a limitless thing. It's just,
in other words, you could go bong, wah wah wah, bong bong, wah wah wah.
Yeah, you can get all of the wubs
just by wiggling your hand over
right here. It's 0 to 127
nice.
MIDI control.
That's beautiful.
And this is the on-off switch for that, as well as MIDI patch selection, and then the 3-way blend switch for the electric and acoustic, and then blending in the synth.
And what do the fan frets do?
Well, a lot of guys will say that they improve intonation, but the intonation is actually technically it's the same, because you're dealing with a fixed ratio of how the frets relate to the overall scale. The real benefit is that it's going to sound more in tune because you have an actually appropriate scale length for the lower strings, but the higher strings aren't so stretched out that they A, don't sound like a 6-string, and B, you can bend them like a 6-string. So you can be playing a 10-gauge set up top, and it feels like 10s, but it's not going to be totally muddy and ill-defined when you get down to the bottom range. And the scale ratio that I personally like is 25.5 inches on top, which is your normal kind of modern long scale, and then all the way to 28.5 inches, which is kind of that. It's a really nice middle point between a short scale bass and a standard guitar. It's like right smack in the middle there. And so I found that to be really good for a wide variety of styles without pushing it too far one way or the other.
This guitar here, this is the one you built for yourself, and it's an 8-string, and you were telling me earlier, can you tell, what are some of the challenges of making an 8-string guitar? What are some of the pluses and minuses?
Well, I mean, it's the biggest challenge with it that is overlooked in a lot of capacities when it comes to starting from the ground up is that an 8-string is sitting in so many different ranges. A guitar is tricky enough because you know, it's already considered a baritone instrument, but it's drifting all the way up into really high treble. And as I'm sure many guitarists will agree, finding a set of pickups or finding a guitar that will, you know, really sound the way they want to when they're playing rhythm stuff, and then still isn't shrill or isn't too muddy when you're getting up into leads, it's already a challenging thing to do. But then when you add an entire octave to the bottom and try to have it be this very all-encompassing, great sounding guitar, they're all, you know, these different challenges that go into that. So you really need to design every single aspect of the instrument with the end result in mind, because if you leave anything out, it's going to fall short in some capacity.
And I know you use the 8-string guitar in your own music in a less conventional way. You're saying you use it in blues and riffs?
It's kind of, the band that I'm writing for now, we basically play bluesy hard rock. I thought it was a really fun idea to take something which, at least up until now, has been used largely for, you know, progressive kind of, you know, single note rhythmic stuff, or totally across the board lead based things, but to really be writing riffs, you know, old school kind of classic rock riffs using all of these different registers, and be able to have you know, normal 6-string guitar harmonies, as well as unison lines with the bass, as well as leads, and have a normal 4-piece guitar, bass, drums, vocals band setting. Just play with this very traditional arrangement, but on a totally kind of modern format instrument. It's been a lot of fun.
If I were starting out with building guitars, I'd be intimidated by shelves like the one behind you with so many pieces and stuff. Like, are there some basic tools that you can start out with that are less expensive, or like, you know, just is there a simple tool set that you know of to start with?
Yes and no. It depends on how far you want to get into it. The first thing that I would do is, instead of trying to buy everything, is see if you can work your way into an existing wood shop. Because most of the stuff that you're going to need to do it, with the exception of certain, you know, certain scales and rulers for guitar specific things, they're already going to be at a wood shop. They're going to have files and rasps and glue and clamps and a bandsaw and a jointer and a planer and all of these things that are, you know, pretty essential to making a guitar by hand. But yeah, I mean, you can look up all that stuff and just see how much of that is in, you know, a local wood shop.
That's
and
cool.
they can, if they have most of it, then you can use the remaining more guitar-centric tools to build your own little toolbox until you have the money, if you choose to do this on a more serious level, to invest in the things that you need to actually do it all yourself. You'd be amazed at things that you can do if you're invested in your own learning process. If you have an idea and you're willing to invest the time necessary to see what it turns into. Not necessarily turn it into the thing that you originally set out to make, be it music or instruments or what have you, but to see where it takes you. And enjoy every aspect of that process. Find something in every aspect of what you're doing and what you're making that you can derive inherent joy in, because, you know, if you can't find some enjoyment in sitting there sanding a guitar body for 4 hours, you're going to be a pretty unhappy guitar
that makes
maker.
sense.
But even in the process of something that mundane as sitting there sanding a block of wood, if you think of that in terms of a time lapse, you are literally sitting and watching a block of wood melt into a guitar body, and then you stand up from that a few hours later. Well, this is actually an instrument. This is no longer a collection of trees haphazardly fixed together. This is a musical instrument. And there's this switch that gets flipped where, and I still have this, where I no longer feel like I'm making a guitar. I feel like I'm working on a guitar that has already been made. When I get to that assembly and that setup phase, I don't even see it as, you know, the first few steps of that process. And when you have that transitioning point, it's really cool, because you see, okay, this is, I'm there. It's done. It's an instrument.
So much of that can apply to the playing the instrument, and it's great because, you know, Dave, I'm not going to show a ton of footage of Dave playing, but he's an awesome guitarist. He really tears it up. Yeah, I'm filming your face while I'm saying that, so that's embarrassing. But like, he's an amazing guitarist, and you can see how that mentality that goes into practice can translate into making, and vice versa, making guitars. So it's really cool.